Hello and welcome to another episode of Holistic Growth with Shikha Pandey. I'm Shikha, and today we're diving deep into a topic that is fundamental to our well being but often overlooked: being a friend to ourselves. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, whatever that you prefer, put on your headphones and settle in. And let's together explore how adopting a friendly mindset towards ourselves can truly transform our life. What we are talking about today is very close to my heart because growing up, I was this person who was very, very critical of oneself. I wanted to be perfect in everything I did. I wanted to win every competition I participated in. I wanted to top my college. I wanted to work for the best brands in the country. The list is truly endless. And the most interesting part is that it was all a self inflicted pressure. My parents or my friends never wanted that from me. So I remember having an upset stomach every time before an exam, just relentlessly preparing for every competition. And while I got better, but it also took away the joy from the way I showed up for the things that I showed up for. So today, when I look back at the certificates that I have from those competitions, all I remember is how stressed I felt. I don't remember joy. And hence this episode. Because in becoming who I am today, and to be able to experience life fully, this was a major shift when it came to my mindset that I had to undergo. When we think about friendship, we often think about how we treat others, offering support, kindness, patience, and understanding. But how often do we extend these same courtesies to ourselves? The truth is, many of us are much harder on ourselves than we would ever be on a friend. And imagine if you spoke to your friend the way you sometimes speak to yourselves, would that friendship really last? Probably not. Yet we often justify self criticism, believing that it pushes us to be better. But research today shows that a harsh inner critique can actually be counterproductive. It erodes our self esteem, it increases stress, and it can lead to burnout. So, what happens when we shift this dynamic and become our own well wishing friend? There's a growing body of research that supports the power of self compassion. Dr. Christine Neff, a leading researcher in self compassion, has found that those who practice self kindness are more resilient, have greater emotional intelligence, and experience less anxiety and depression. And out of all things that I just talked about, I personally have felt that I've become a more resilient person since I started to be a little more kinder towards myself. It just enables me to bounce back after something that doesn't go my way or something that goes wrong, because I'm no longer choosing to just stay in that place. That I know it's okay, I made a mistake, but I can learn and move on. Also, the way I used to get anxious about exams or competitions or job interviews or project and things like that, that's so much lesser. In fact, I've learned to enjoy the process of doing something new, learning something new, facing a challenge. And that only happened because I'm more compassionate towards myself. But what does self compassion actually look like? It involves three key components: self kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self kindness is about treating yourself with care and understanding. Common humanity is the recognition that everyone struggles and you're not alone in your challenges. And finally, mindfulness is the ability to be present with your emotions without judgment. And I have done a series of podcast episodes on mindfulness. So if you want to know more, learn more, imbibe it in your life, I encourage you to go and check out those episodes. Now that we understand the importance of being kind to ourselves, let's talk about how we can actually cultivate this friendly mindset. First, it starts by paying attention to your inner dialogue. Are you being critical? Or are you offering yourself the same compassion that you would to a friend? When you catch yourself in a negative thought loop, pause and gently reframe your thoughts. Ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? And why can't I say that to myself? Second, make time for self-care. Just as you would make time for a friend in need, prioritize activities that nurture your mind, your body, and spirit. This could be anything from a walk in the nature to journaling to simply giving yourself the permission to rest. And lastly, practice forgiveness, both for yourself and others. Holding on to guilt or resentment can be so toxic, while forgiveness frees you to move forward with a lighter heart. Remember, I really want you to pay attention to this, that being your own friend means being patient and understanding, even when you make mistakes. And this is crucial because the hardest forgiveness for a whole lot of us is the one that we must offer ourselves. And it is also the most liberating and transformational. Let me tell you that. Because when we learn that it is okay to make a mistake and that it is an opportunity to learn and grow, our mindset begins to shift. And then the way we approach things in life begins to shift. And this happens because we don't let our mistakes define us anymore, because we're choosing to learn from them and then move past them. So why is this important? How can being your own good friend transform your life? When you adopt a friendly mindset towards yourself, you build a solid foundation of self-worth. This foundation empowers you to take risk, pursue your goals, and handle setbacks with grace. You're no longer bogged down by self-doubt because you've got your own back. Moreover, self-friendship radiates outward. When you're kind to yourself, you're more likely to be kind to others. It enhances your relationships because you're not seeking validation from others. You have already validated yourself. You like spending time with yourself. You like the person you're evolving into. You care about yourself. You know you're worthy and deserving because of simply being you. Ultimately, becoming your own best friend is a journey towards self-love and acceptance. It's about embracing your imperfections, celebrating your strengths, and living authentically. The transition happens when we see ourselves, when we know we got our back, and we can also look at the areas where we need work without feeling incomplete. We are complete as we are today, and yet there is always scope of becoming a better version of ourselves. Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a challenge. Over the next week, Whenever you catch yourself being self critical, pause. Just pause. And instead, speak to yourself as you would to a dear, dear friend. Notice how this simple shift in mindset affects your mood, your energy, and your overall well being. Remember, the longest relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. So why not make it a loving and supportive one? Thank you for tuning into Holistic Growth with Shikha Pandey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might benefit from a little more self-kindness in their life. Until next time, be kind to yourself and keep evolving. Take care and talk to you super soon again.